investing in rebuilding our roads and our bridges and our railways and our infrastructure.
President Obama needs to come up with hundreds of thousands of jobs before the unemployment rate will drop. His plan is to pour more money into fixing America's roads and bridges. If that rings a bell, it's probably because that's what the president did a few years ago with his stimulus package. It didn't work the first time. Will it work this time around? Here to hash it out, Charles Payne from the Fox Business Network, my colleague, and Jammu Green. Jammu, our infrastructure is crumbling. There's no denying that. Bridges, roads, they need to be fixed. The problem is the first round of stimulus was very expensive. It didn't get the job done. Will another round do it?
It did get the job done.
Our roads are still crumbling. Our job situation is still a nightmare.
We have over 1 million construction workers that lost their job in the biggest recession we've seen in generations. But if we had not had that stimulus, we would have fallen off the cliff. We would be in a much more drastic situation than we are now. These proposals that are on the table that have incredible bipartisan support in Congress needs to act now. Yes, we have to continue the conversation around the deficit and restructuring our debt ceiling and making sure we don't, not stop making investments in innovation and in education. But Congress can do this right now because these report numbers, this is something Americans knew before these job numbers came out.
Well, we just put up a Fox poll that said that less than a third of the people thought that the first stimulus actually helped the economy. Charles, stimulus can be a very quick jolt. It can help in a very short-term way, but longer term, I think it wears out over a while, and I think the first one's already worn out.
Well, to your point, one person's stimulus plan is another person's spending excuse. Here's a great way to look at what we're talking about here. A country called Spain. Spain went on this incredible economic expansion. They built 1,200 miles of highways. They've got the largest high-speed rail network in all of Europe. They've got 43 international airports. Here's the problem. About 30 of them are empty. Now, yeah, we can create temporary jobs, but you know what the unemployment rate in Spain is right now, Jammu? 20%. So it's not about creating temporary fixes. It's about unlocking the potential of this country, and the president did not talk about that today.
The president has been working so diligently to unlock the potential. Let's try to agree on something here, Charles.
Okay.
Can we agree on the fact that we have got to pass this patent bill so that we can have our entrepreneurs be able to create and make products a lot more efficiently?
Let me just add one thing
the trade bill,
when those
that's something we can agree on.
do well, I don't want them to be demonized for being successful. Now, as far as the trade bill...
Of course they wouldn't be demonized, but these two things are on the table. Congress can do this right now.
What if they made $1 million?
Why isn't Congress acting right now? Why are they allowed to just sit back and not pass these with bipartisan support? We should bring up one thing, too,
about the free trade bill. It is being hijacked by this TAA, which people should understand is this program that's been around for 50 years, but all of a sudden it was a multi-million-dollar program. Now it's a billion-dollar program designed to put money into union workers' pockets where they get unemployment benefits for 154 weeks, health insurance, retraining. It almost makes you want to be unemployed. So that's what's holding that up. You're right. All of these things that the president talked about has bipartisan support without all the attachments, without all the special interest stuff. That should be just left aside.
I find it amazing, though, that we have these opportunities right in front of us, and instead of just continuing the fight of saying no to this administration, saying no to the Americans who have lost the 8 million jobs that were lost, not because of President Obama, but he's taking responsibility by saying we have to take these steps.
Well, I don't know if anybody's really taking responsibility.
He's clearly taking responsibility. He said it several times that he takes responsibility.
Say that it's not about the jobs that were lost during the previous administration. It's about all the jobs that were gained during this administration. But
2.2 million jobs last 16 months. That's nothing. That's pretty impressive.
And jobs that
given
were lost
where
during
we
that
were.
point of time as well. You mentioned that the patent reform bill. This is all part of a plan that Austin Goolsbee put out there today and said, look, we hope to get to an 8.2% unemployment rate by the end of 2012. That's just not going to do it. See, I look at some of these things, and to Charles's point, though, extending the payroll tax cut. Stephen Moore was just on with us earlier in the week, told me that didn't work. It's not going to work again. We're sort of extending the same things that don't work over and over again.
I think when you look at what private economists are saying, step outside of the White House and the president's advisors. They all are in support of passing this patent bill, passing the trade bill, making sure that we extend the payroll tax cuts. I find it amazing that in the Republican presidential debate that happened a few weeks ago, The words middle class weren't even mentioned. There were no programs put on the table to increase jobs from the private sector.
I don't want to define the middle class as less than $250,000 or more than $40,000.
I look at America as not as even a class or caste system. I look at it as a place where people can move up and down the chain of success depending on how hard they work. And I think that's what's missing. A lot of people don't believe that anymore, Jamil. And I think the president keeps missing an opportunity to unlock that by focusing on pet projects and maybe adopting some things, but again, with strings attached.
How is allowing entrepreneurs to get their patents smoothly and more efficiently through the system?
I like that
How
one.
is that a pet project?
I like
These
that
are
one.
things we can agree on. Let's just look at what things we can agree on.
More spending is a pet project.
I think you could find agreement there. I just don't know if that's going to be enough. We need to find agreement on some of the bigger issues. Jamil, Charles, great seeing you as always.
And I agree that she looks fantastic today.
She does. There's no doubt about it. And she wasn't complaining about how cold it was here in the studio. That's a win for everybody. Thank you, Jamil. All right.